intelligent data agents for the enterprise. With us here today, today's session we'll be covering a variety of topics, but first off we'll move the process of moving from dashboards to intelligent automated decision systems, how to go about architecting a data foundation which GenAI can trust, accelerating AI with metadata-driven automation tools, and we'll showcase one today during the presentation. Transforming governed enterprise data into operational agents, and then a bridge strategy around architecture and real-world execution. So appreciate everybody attending today. We'll first just quick introductions with our speakers. I'll go first. My name is John Price. I am a CIO of Seven Rivers, and I've been working in IT and technology for over 25 years in a variety of roles. Spent a long time in financial services and was at a previous consulting firm, Seven Summits, and excited to be with you guys today. Christopher, I'll pass it over to you.
Sure. So my name is Christopher Siegfried. I'm a senior consultant at Seven Rivers. I'm a longtime data head focusing on enterprise data warehouse architecture. And as of late 2022, really pivoted hard into GenAI. So it's been an exciting trip, and I'm excited to share some of our maturity and findings around that area with everyone today.
Yeah.
Thanks, Christopher. Jonas?
Yeah, thank you, John. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting us. I'm always happy to do webinars with our friends from Seven Rivers. So my name is Jonas. I'm calling in from Belgium, Europe. So it's a bit later here than in the US. But anyway, I work for VaultSpeed, a data automation company. And at VaultSpeed, I had our solution engineering department. So yeah, my own background is quite technical. I've been building data warehouses with various methodologies, but yeah, primarily using data vault methodology for almost 15 years now. That's also how I ended up with VaultSpeed, as it's one of the things that we can automate with our solution. And yeah, just like Chris and John here, also here at VaultSpeed, we've been following this new wave that AI has brought into our industry with a lot of attention, and also what it means in terms of your data management strategies, how context all of a sudden has seemed to have become even more important in the entire equation. And I think that's some of the stuff that we'll be talking about today, right?
Great. Thanks very much, Jonas. So first off, just to kind of kick things off, I'll do a little bit of a level setting and just kind of talk about what are intelligent agents, and really an agent. It's an enterprise system that operates over governed data, and it orchestrates automated decisions and actions. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk around LLM-driven decision making, but agents really can be comprised of a variety of technologies. And so, the most exciting thing today is really around, how LLMs can help drive decision making, but also machine learning, policy, deterministic policies or rules engines, or even event driven logic, all of which can be combined together, either individually or in tandem to help make a decision or some kind of action. And so it has really obviously taken off, and so that's why we've seen quite a progression around what agents are and what they can do. So why do they matter now? And it's really all about how GenAI has really reset our expectations. We've all used the different, ChatGPT and the different large language models out there, and how it really can instantly answer questions for people. And it has really changed our expectations of how things should work. And so it's now about coming up with ways in which we can start leveraging this technology within the corporate environment that we all work. And so, you know, thinking about how what you know how in the past, human-driven analytics, it just doesn't really scale. And it's this whole idea that intelligent agents kind of close that gap, and it does create and help drive that immediacy around the power behind agents. Um, so so when we kind of bring together, an agentic world along with governed data, it really helps bring to life what intelligent agents are. So thinking about, how conversational analytics can help uh, drive, with natural language interaction, rapid reasoning, summarization, pattern recognition, all of that capability is now available, but the data behind it has to be well governed. And so when you couple that with strong data lineage, historical context, and really, data and quality controls, uh, bringing that together helps drive intelligent agents. Each one of those things by itself won't really create an intelligent agent. But when you do bring it together, that's when they can be very powerful, and strong foundations to helping drive automation across the enterprise. Christopher, I'll hand it over to you to kind of talk about where we are today in Data Vault.
Sure. All right. So there are some fundamentals that we've always focused on that we still need to focus on today, and even more so in this AI era, because those fundamentals are giving us all the same benefits they used to, but we're also leveraging way more out of them through AI. There's a lot more we can get out of those foundational skills. So the first one I really want to address is the importance of our particular business's lexicon, the words we use and how that's represented in our data. Now, a lot of times as companies are maturing, they won't really have their own business vocabulary in their data structure until maybe the very end, right? The gold layer, if you're thinking about a medallion setup. So when you finally get to that reporting layer, maybe then you've converted over to the language of your business. Maybe you have clients instead of customers, and your source system just provides customers. Or maybe you're even more broken down, right? You don't say, not only do we have clients, but we do have customers, and those exist as two separate categories for us. So that delineation between the words we use in our business and how our business processes flow along those concepts is really critical to having an accurate landscape for the AI to work within. When we do ingestion from source systems, the source systems do not reflect our business's lexicon. They work with whatever the source system was set up with, which was usually targeted to work for the vast amount of people, right? Because whoever we're buying our tool from, be it Salesforce or SAP or whatever we're purchasing, they want to appeal to a large segment of customers, and it's not customized to the words we use in our business. So if we can, we want to take our business lexicon and apply it as early as possible in the transformation process, ideally right at the get-go. So we pull data from into our bronze layer. We say, hey, this is our source data. And what Data Vault does really well is it has patterns and support and a method for allowing us to immediately switch over to our business lexicon in the raw vault, right immediately at the beginning of our silver layer. And the reason why that's so important is because now you have a coherent story with the rest of your business processes. Now you have AI that can go back and use this vernacular that's particular to your organization, particular to your business processes, and you can tie that in with the rest of your documentation or the rest of your guidelines around how your business works. If you don't tackle this early on, you miss out on a lot because you can't integrate AI earlier, and your data is mostly incoherent. It doesn't give the context we need to really be mirrored to the business. And that's always been important, but we're seeing how vital that is now in the AI era. Even more so, metadata plays a huge role. So data is complicated. Data Vault gives us a way to approach that complexity and suggestion methods for managing it and managing your metadata and quickly expanding. So as you add more business processes, it is a clean, coherent roadmap towards how to do that. Whereas with a lot of other data modeling processes, you can misstep there. Now, this is not to say there are no complexities involved with the data vault. It is patterned, so it's very reliable and you have an idea how to do it, but simple doesn't mean easy, right? And to help with that, there are some partners like VaultSpeed who can dramatically reduce or make it more easy in addition to simple. All right, and with that, I will hand it off to Johan here.
Yep. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, a lot of what you say completely resonates with me about the lexicon and trying to implement this business business taxonomy, or the way that business talks about what they're actually doing as early on as possible. And also what you said about all these different systems. You see it on the slide here, that are typically horizontally distributed, as we say, that VaultSpeed across, they're all over the place, right? I have a short demo of a retailer later on, where you would typically see a point of sale system, maybe an SAP somewhere in the basement. SAP, which is I think notoriously known for the German abbreviated names of whatever's in the tables and the attributes. So how do you translate that, and how do you go from there to having a data model that understands, or that a business user could basically understand, while also integrating it with all these other different sources that exist across the board. So if you want to build a data platform that does that, that's not easy to do. With Data Vault, it becomes indeed more simple, but it's still not easy to do, and that's where VaultSpeed tries to help. And then on the next slide, I don't know who is maintaining the slides anymore, but still on the next slide, what's also important is that if you build a data platform like that, and if you have business users that rely on things that have been built in there for their reporting or for their AI agents, on which we will talk today as well. How do you maintain this thing over time with constant change happening all over the place? Think about a company doing a merger, an acquisition, a divestiture. All these things are quite big changes, not only for the company as a whole, but also specifically for the maintenance on the data platform itself. That's a difficult thing to do. Again, if we push it back to a system like SAP, or in insurance or banking, a core system, a core banking system, core insurance system. I don't know, I've lost count of how many SAP HANA migrations I've seen over the last couple of years. That's like open heart surgery for an organization in terms of the operational system, but it also has a huge impact on your data platform. So how do you maintain this thing over time? And then finally, next slide, please. How can we expose this data to AI, right? And this is where, we talk a lot about context these days, and how do you bring context to your data? I think over the past couple of years, we might have lost a little bit of interest in data modeling. But what data modeling actually does is bringing that context to our data. So for some reason, AI has brought it back to the top of the agenda. We need to make sure that we model our data well, that we bring context to it, so that our AI agents can make sense of it. I guess it speaks to us humans that before, maybe data modeling was perceived as less important, because as humans we can make sense of it anyway. well, an AI agent will not necessarily make sense of it if you didn't provide that vital context to data. So next slide, please. What VaultSpeed helps you do is do exactly that. It's about managing a lot of complexity that is there in the form of metadata, right? If we talk about data modeling, if we talk about data management, actually everything is captured through metadata that explains how our data is structured, how it is modeled. And at VaultSpeed, we believe that if you want to manage all that complexity, you can be assisted with AI agents, and we will show a couple of them in the demo as well, the ones we have built at VaultSpeed. But still, if you want to visualize what you are building, or if you want to understand what you are building, you need to visualize it. And not only the data engineers or the data modelers need to understand it, more importantly, also people on the business side need to be able to understand it. And the best way to create that shared knowledge is, and that's what we believe here at VaultSpeed, is to visualize the problem, to make the metadata more understandable by being able to have a good look at it. So yeah, what we help you do is, if you look at the bottom of the slide where you have your typical data platforms, for example, Snowflake, this is where you want to build the data platform. On the left-hand side, you have all these horizontally distributed systems. And on the top right, you have your data products where we can actually receive the value. Well, this is what VaultSpeed helps you build a whole lot faster, right? We do it with metadata. We do it with Data Vault. We do it with smart solutions, including AI solutions to get that metadata tailored and to bring that business context into the data model early on. Next slide, please. So how do we do this? We've explained it. If you want to have fruitful outcomes for AI with your data, you don't only need the data, you also need to contextualize it. And that contextualization is what VaultSpeed helps you do. We do it in the form of modeling the data, modeling it with Data Vault methodology. And to do that, VaultSpeed basically needs two ingredients. On the one hand side, we need to have this top-down approach of how your organization works. So we need to understand the business intent. We need to understand the data model. And then on the other side, we also need to understand the technical complexity of the sources you're trying to integrate in that data model. And with that, we can generate automated pipelines for your data platform of preference, Snowflake, Databricks, what have you. Next slide, please. So we briefly discussed medallion architecture before, but this puts it on a slide, right, where you can see it visually. So if you look at the three layers, bronze, silver, gold, the place where you would position a data vault is in that silver layer, right? It kind of acts as a buffer between all the changes that are coming and happening on the source side. New source coming in because of a merger, another source because of a platform upgrade, just the quarterly release from Salesforce, what have you. So that's the change coming in from the sources. Data Vault can buffer that, but also everything that has been built on top in the gold layer is kind of protected from all these changes by having this Data Vault in the middle. I think that's one of the primary use cases of Data Vault. It's a very agile methodology, and because of the fact that you can automate it, it makes it more maintainable. On the other side, it's also a little bit like a tape recorder. So for regulatory compliance, historization, it's a fantastic model to set you up for complying with all these different regulatory requirements. Okay, next slide. I think we bring it back to Chris.
All right. Yeah, so with that data vault structure in place, and hopefully it wasn't too big of a lift, you can really start harvesting some of those benefits that we were talking about. So we're able to look at the existing data and depending on your platform, a lot of times you can even just set up one of the inbuilt agents to immediately provide something as simple as natural language querying. So with a data vault approach, where you are constructing your data in a way that is reflective of your business and your business process, you can immediately start leveraging AI to answer simple questions or write queries. And this gives your analysts a lot more freedom than they might have had previously, both within the warehouse and kind of freedom from the dashboards. Now, if you're looking at the more complex agents, then you're able to say, hey, for this particular business problem we are looking at using AI to help us find a solution or find an answer or whatever it is you're looking for. And because of that business alignment all the way back in your silver layer, you can isolate your business problem to the data stream you need. So it's very clear. You have very clearly represented in data and in business speak. There's much lower odds of misalignment. John? Oh, thought you said something there. Oh, please go back one.
Sorry.
No, all good. All right. Additionally, with agents, just so you know, while you can stand them up and get a lot of use out of them, as far as actually utilizing them in production, there is work to be done around that. And it leverages all this good data we've been putting up front, but there is more framework you need to put in. You need to make sure that your agent is addressing the problems you want and not exceeding the scope of those issues. So it's very targeted. Your solution needs to be dependable. You need to know that it is going to perform well over and over and over again. And so you definitely want some help with that, and it gets some experience performing your evaluations, because LLMs are stochastic, right? You can't always rely on them to give you the same output every time. So you need a organized means of measuring that. How often are they getting the exact answer we want? How often do they come close to the answer we want? And that's a continual process, because your AI solution is likely going to grow. So you also need to have a means to apply steering. So this is something we do a lot at Seven Rivers, and it's something made much easier by having that very strong data foundation. If the data is not organized, is not semantically aligned with the organization, this is a much longer and much more difficult process. Johan, do you want to talk a little bit about VaultSpeed, especially the metadata? I didn't get into that.
Yeah. So yeah, again, if we look at how automation works or how you can provide context to data, it's all about metadata, and the metadata is obviously also what allows you to rapidly automate these data foundations, particularly if you are using Data Vault. But then again, not only Data Vault, you can still automate stuff downstream as well, with star schemas, with other types of modeling. But for that silver layer, that's the foundation of everything. That's where you would use Data Vault. Now, what's cool about Data Vault is that you don't have to build it as a big bang, right? You can start based on your specific use case. If you're building an agent today that needs data about your point of sale system, then you can start with those systems and gradually expand your Data Vault later on. Now, because of the fact that it's a tape recorder, it historizes everything, and you can gradually increase the data sets that have been added into the silver layer. With that, also the capabilities of the questions you could ask your agents would expand, right? If you add them all into the same model without huge re-engineering work to what was already there, then bit by bit, you can start asking more complex questions to your agents, right? Questions that are not necessarily hidden only in one particular system, but where you would have to find the answers in a combination of different systems. These are the more tough questions to answer. And yeah, Data Vault can provide a foundation to do exactly that. So as it grows, you'll also see increasing capabilities of what you could ask your specific agents. All right.
It's really interesting seeing an agent work within your data ecosystem if you take that approach, because some of the assumptions we have as humans, the agent does not have. So you'll see them making connections that when you eyeball, it's like, I've never done it that way, but yes, that does make sense. And why is my data inconsistent there? So I have found a lot of interest in having agents active and helping with that data model. And getting some interesting results. Now, other uses for it, regulatory is a great use for it because an agent can be instructed on the patterns and PII and be a little less literal than our yield regex strings and the like, and help us there. Obviously, as far as operations go, having all that rich data about the business, so not customer-facing agents, but agents that help us internally with our operations, going to get a lot of leverage from that. And then we have started seeing an uptick and maybe like a shift away from your traditional dashboards, where we're seeing agents come in and provide insights or summaries customized to the individual user or individual role type that they find more helpful than the dashboard. So it's a little more directed. You can have a push communication style where maybe agents are monitoring things and alert when they see anomalies. And then the user who receives these insights, like, hey, this was weird this week, can start that natural language query process and chat with their data. So it allows for very rapid insight into your organization.
All right. I think with that, it's demo time, no, Chris?
Nice. All right.
Right. So the way we go about it is that I need to first build something in order for you to do something cool with your agent, right? I guess that means that I have to share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. I guess so. So
Yep.
quickly going back, this is the only slide, or maybe one of the two slides I will show. So I just want to quickly take you back to that. How do we bring context to data part, where we need two ingredients in VaultSpeed to make this work. And the first ingredient is to understand how your business works, right? And we do that typically by designing a data model on the conceptual level. And this is where we have a fairly new product in VaultSpeed. This is still full in the works, so it has evolved a little bit over the past couple of weeks and months. But what you see here is an empty screen, and on that screen, I would like to do exactly what we just talked about, and where Chris also indicated that, yeah, this is where we want to bring context and the lexicon of our business into the data. So what I have here is a whole bunch of transcripts from conversations that we've had between business analysts and people that understand a bit the processes within the organization, owners of source systems, what have you, that just explain to each other how a certain process works, how a certain part of our business works. And with that, we've built an assistant here at VaultSpeed that can basically extract from that conversation how the organization is set up. So in this case, I've taken a transcript from a retail process, and what it has been doing with that transcript is listening for nouns and verbs, right? With the nouns, it can derive entities like customers, orders, products, shipments, support tickets. This is the lexicon in which the business talks about what they are doing, right? And then the verbs, that's quite clearly how these concepts are related to each other. So a customer places an order contains one or more products, and orders are fulfilled by shipments and so on. So you get the point, right? Now the goal is that within the time it took to have a conversation about that model, we are actually able to throw it onto our canvas, right? And this is how you would basically create your first blueprint of what your data vault or your data model in general should look like. Because from a conceptual model, you can go to data vault, you can go to star schema, you can go anywhere, right? In this use case, we're going to use it to build a data vault. And this blueprint is eventually what I would like to have my data vault look like from a conceptual point of view. So concepts would be translated in hubs, the relationships would be translated in links, and every piece of content or data that I'm storing about these key concepts, yeah, they would be added as the satellite tables in our data vault setup. So that's the first component that we need here to make this work. This is how we start from the top down, modeling the business and deriving a conceptual data model from it. And then in the second part, this is where you would tap into the complexity of all the different systems that you have, in this case, within our retail system. Okay, so, whoops, I need to refresh my screen. Yeah, here it is. So this is our retail point of sale system. There's a whole bunch of tables in there, not too many, right? It's just a demo. But when I'm looking at this, I'm actually looking at the way the data is organized within one of the different sources I'm trying to integrate into my data vault model. And it's showing me the metadata and how the metadata is organized. So I can indicate, for example, from this particular source, what would be serving as a good business key for my shipments or for my products, and so on and so on. What you can also do here is explain to VaultSpeed how the data is being delivered, for example. So do I have a CDC system in place? Yes or no? And in that case, yeah, how is it delivering the data? Is it like full loads, daily dumps? Is it an incremental load using CDC flags and timestamps and all that technical mumbo jumbo? The thing is, with VaultSpeed, you don't really have to worry that much about it. Basically, by indicating which way you want to go, we will generate the code in just a slightly different way so that it would work in your particular technical setup. So to recap this, we had two ingredients, one top-down explaining to VaultSpeed how the organization works, and then the other one is more bottom-up, where you need to explain the technical complexity of the different systems, SAP, your CRM, your Salesforce, whatever, the systems that you want to integrate into that data vault, into that overall silver model. And if you've done enough of that modeling, then what you can get is a model for the data vault itself. Oops, I need to go back to this version, I guess. And that model then looks like this, right? Now, I'm going to enlarge it. This is the data vault model that we have generated from our two inputs. So we have our customer, we have our order, we have our products. And if you just look at the hubs and the links, the blue and the gray icons on this data model, yeah, they are what reflects the key skeleton of this data vault, or the backbone, or whatever you want to call it. And they should reflect or connect back to the conceptual data model that we had designed in the beginning. If you've done that, then you've created a data vault that a business user, but maybe not only a business user, also an AI agent can start finding its way in, because we've contextualized it very good, and we have contextualized it, like Chris put it very well in the beginning, with the lexicon of the business already in our raw vault model as early as possible. And then finally, of course, these yellow icons, these yellow entities, these are the satellite tables, and they are the ones that contain the data sets that come in from all these different sources that we've integrated together, right? But if I want to go look for data about customers, it's quite easy. I have a hub customer. There's one satellite with data containing from the retail source, and one from our CSM or the other source that we had available. So that's how you can quickly set up a data vault in VaultSpeed. And then Chris, I suppose now you are going to use this vault model that I've in the meantime also have implemented in my Snowflake environment to build an agent on top of it. So I will allow you to share the screen.
All right. Yeah, I just want to call out how amazing that is, right? So in this AI era, what we're doing is extracting away some of the hard technical problems. Like you saw Jonas demonstrate right there. That conversation, that transcript, that doesn't have to be very technical people. In fact, it should not be very technical people. You want your expert users, your subject matter experts, to just have that conversation about what it is they are concerned about having in their data vault or in their model, or what data they want accessibility to, or talking through their business processes. And with tools like VaultSpeed, a process like Data Vault, you have the means to set that up with a lot of help. So it's dramatically lightened burden. I'm really excited to see as VaultSpeed progresses and really leverages AI, what it looks like even a year from now. All right. Now on my side, get the right window here. So I'm going to go to a Teams interface, which some of you may have seen before. And this is actually just a chat session. It is on Snowflake, and we are utilizing Snowflake Cortex. And we kind of jumped into the middle of the action here. And you can see that we can actually ask questions of this data set. So this is not the gold layer. This is asking on the silver layer. I'm going to go ahead and ask how many return transactions are there by year, and what is the total return amount. We'll run that. And so behind the scenes, it's reaching out to Snowflake. It's leveraging Snowflake Cortex and Snowflake Analyst. So it's looking at the SQL, it's looking at the database and all the various tables. And we've provided some semantic metadata so it can better answer the nuanced questions we were asking. Think about it, think about it. All right, well, it answers that. You can see that I did load up a couple questions ahead of time. Top 10 locations by revenue. You get an answer, gives us a nice little chart. All right, and here, it's even gonna generate us a very chunky bar graph. That's fine. All right, so we get an answer. And again, this is stepping away. I didn't need to write a SQL query for this. I could have. And if I am the technical type and I want to say, well, exactly what did you do there? We can go look at the logic and see how the agent approached this and what tables they decided to reference. So between a very solid data foundation that is set up in a predictable way, e.g. Data Vault, and set up along our business terminology, our business lexicon, how we talk about things in our process, it's pretty straightforward to establish an agentic framework on top of that that's really going to let us leverage all that great data and make it easier for your entire organization to use this without being experts, and maybe without even knowing or understanding the underlying database.
And even without having to leave their precious Teams environment in this case.
That's right. The data should meet you where you are as much as possible. And so that is why the Teams integration is nice. Right. Yeah, and this agent, like all agents, needs some steering, needs some guardrails. You can ask it things like, my kid doesn't like tofu. How can I get him to eat it? This isn't true. My son actually loves raw tofu. I don't get it, but that's great. But obviously, ideally, your agent doesn't answer those kinds of questions. And in just a minute, we will get a response declining that. So agents, you don't want to go wild with them. You do want a little help setting them up and making sure that they are aligned and on target and providing valuable, accurate answers. But the power and flexibility they give us is just amazing.
Cool.
All right, I think we're back to the slides now. Are we done? Yeah.
Done with the demo, but I think John has a couple of closing slides.
Yeah, so were there any questions before we wrap up for the day? Thanks very much, Christopher and Jonas, for really great demo. All right. Well, we really appreciate everyone's. And were there some questions? I'm not able to see if there were.
Nothing I see.
Okay. Well, thank.
I see one
Oh.
in the
There is
chat.
one from Peter.
Okay.
What does the conceptual technical model workflow look like in VaultSpeed with that agent?
Yeah, good question, Peter. So basically in VaultSpeed, yeah, we didn't have the time to go through it in a lot of detail, but the conceptual blueprint that you've laid out in the Canvas model can be used to basically pre-populate what we call in VaultSpeed hub groups. And we can give these contextual names. If you call a customer or a client, or I think that's the example that Chris used in the beginning, you can just choose from the conceptual model what it should be. If someone from the business tells you it's customer, then you use that, you pre-populate a hub group with that, and every data set that then smells a bit like customers, you throw them into that hub group, and VaultSpeed will automate the way that influences the logical and the physical model for you automatically, and obviously generate the code to implement it. So the agent itself, the one that I showed, will help you to lay out the conceptual data model. The agent that is supposed to map from conceptual to technical, well, we haven't built all the agents just yet, so we're starting with this one. But it's a good guess that that obviously we will introduce more and more of these as we go and continue to develop VaultSpeed. And I hope that answers the question. I don't know if Peter can respond or anything, but yeah.
It looks like there is another one. Do you see AI agents as assistants, advisors, or autonomous actors in your enterprise, and why?
Ooh,
All
why
right.
not both?
Yeah. I'll take an initial pass at that, and then guys, if you want to jump in and add as well, that would be great. But I think all three are potential options. When we speak with clients today, oftentimes this is being introduced sort of for the first time. And so we do like to help customers sort of prioritize and figure out, where does it make sense to first sort of tackle. And so when you do sort of prioritize, a lot of times we're seeing sort of assistance being sort of the early and sort of low hanging fruit. We see that with conversational analytics quite a bit. Simply, those are capabilities that are very, I would say, low-hanging fruit from when you look at Snowflake as a platform with their Snowflake intelligence capabilities. And so we've seen quite a bit of interest just with that alone over the last three months, I'd say. Guys, I don't know if you want to add to that at all.
I think
Thanks,
that's definitely the low-hanging fruit. As far as advisors and autonomous actors, so with advisors, you're kind of looking at an agent that has enough capability to understand some particular aspect of the business, so it requires a little more context, maybe even more context than you have just from your established data alone, right? About like more details about the process. And autonomous actors, depending on what that's meant by that, but you're definitely looking at a much more rigid structure for that agent usually, but leveraging your data very well. We see that a lot with like form filling or parsing maybe a customer order into a standard format, some customer service stuff, regulatory checks. So you can have agents that are flexible in a way that deterministic coding is not, to tackle some of those problems.
I'll just add to that, another area where we see that same type of use, particularly with banking. There's been, I would say, over the last 5 or 8 years, a lot of financial institutions have implemented bots, and bots are great for doing sort of, clearly defined tasks. But the thing with bots is there's also exception processing, and where a bot is there, where there's an ambiguous answer and it's not sure what to do, and we see interest where an agent could then help reduce the exception processing. So instead of having a human in the loop process exceptions, you could have an agent process, and we see, the instances where a person would actually need to then intervene on bot execution goes down. And so I think that there's opportunity, quite a bit of opportunity there for further automation.
That's great. And our final question is, what risks are we taking if we implement GenAI without restructuring our data foundation?
So for that one, I'd say what we discussed, right, around the semantic modeling issue. So the further you're away from semantic alignment to your business and from a well-known patterned approach, because it's not only being semantically aligned, which is vital, but also that Data Vault as a pattern is very comprehensible. How to navigate between various hubs and links is very well documented. Agents are very comfortable moving along that in ways that even with a dimensional model, right, depending on if it's a SCD type 2, you're doing via Kimball modeling, or if you have a bridge table, it's a little fuzzier. So it's a combination of using Data Vault because it's so patterned and predictable and comprehensible, and your business alignment very early on in the process. That gives you a lot of power.
Yeah, and this, I mean, restructuring. I mean, if it's already well structured, you're already in a good position, I would say. But in many cases, it's not, right. It's either badly modeled, it's badly maintained. There's a lot of hidden complexity in terms of business rules or old legacy systems where you have like 10, 15, 20 years of business rules embedded in code bases that no one knows anymore because the people who built them are already long gone. And if that is poorly documented and you then unleash a bunch of agents on top of it to try and make sense of it, well, you could say your prayer and hope for the best, but that's hope is never a good strategy, I believe. And I saw in the chat an answer, depending on how bad the data is, a ruin is a possible outcome. I fully agree with it. So, yeah.
All right. It looks as though that's the last of the questions for now, I think. So just to wrap up, really appreciate everybody's time joining us here today. And as far as what's next, if anyone is interested, we would love to talk and help you understand, what an agent could look like in your environment. And we have a lot of different ways to approach that particular problem with you. And we'd love to, to do a custom workshop where we could help you guys along your own agentic journey. So thank you again, everybody. Thank you, Christopher and Jonas as well. Great examples and great to see everything here. So thank you very much.
Welcome. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
That's fun.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.